She'll get the idea. And if not, you can tell me and we'll try to fix it. But,
Can't be worse than my setup, dude.
yeah, it won't be quite as good as Cheech and Tim Flagler and some of those other guys, Tim Camisa, but it'll be yeah, it'll give you the idea. So we're at 8:01. Do you want to wait for a couple more to show?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm getting the Facebook Live ready. I started recording it.
Oh, Facebook Live. There you go. Hey, Terry, you can watch me from upstairs. Just go to my NSTU, Facebook Live. She didn't answer, so I assume she doesn't want to.
Well, I'm sure she follows our page, closely.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Yeah, she looks up every day.
She'll get a notification that my NSTU went
There's
live.
like 11 people. Yay.
Fishing the Manus.
What's that?
Did anyone fish the Manus recently?
Gustavo has.
Yeah, I was there yesterday.
How'd you do, Gustavo?
It was really good. I caught, I don't know, probably 10 on dries.
Wow.
Yeah, when it's like a 42 degrees or 43, so they start hitting midges.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
and I saw a few little stoneflies.
I walked there today, Gustavo. I probably saw 6 risers.
I thought that was too cold.
Yeah, it was chilly. I was surprised they were coming up, but there was probably like 4 or 5 guys fishing there too. Different spot.
Randy Walker and I were supposed to go fish the mill tomorrow. That's the trip I donated to the CVTU banquet. Whoever knows how long ago that was. Back in the before, as they say. And we looked at the forecast and went, darn it, it's dropping like 10 degrees. And then
It's going to be below 30 every day next week.
Yeah. And I said,
Oof.
let's just wait till February when
Yeah.
it's, so.
I went a week ago to the Farmington and caught one I caught one on your streamer, Gustavo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I got to tell you though, my version looked like crap, but it didn't matter.
But catch a fish.
I caught a fish and I missed another one. And then they were right. There was a few fish rising. In fact, one of the fish I missed was, he rose downstream from me. So I just whipped that streamer out, swung it down in front of him, and he took it, but I missed him. It was like one of those sort of upstream,
Yeah,
pull it right out of his mouth kind of thing.
like a short strikes.
But yeah, then I went and got my dry fly rod, and they were having none of my bugs. So I went home. So anyway, you want me to go ahead and get started, Jeff? So for those of you who don't know me, so I'll kind of go through, kind of like what Rich did last week, and somebody else wants in.
I'll take care of
okay,
the waiting room so you can.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark McBeth. I'm on the CVTU board. I've been a member of TU since probably about, I want to say maybe 2008, something like that. And then finally got involved with CVTU because my wife was working with Steve Varga. And so that's how I kind of got, my first sort of visits to the meetings were because of Steve Varga, and he was working at Broadview Middle School with my wife, or my wife was working with him. Anyway, yeah, so then I got on the board a few years ago, and my role with CVTU is I handle, you'd call me the digital media guy. I handle the website. I handle the social media for the most part. There are other admins on our Facebook page as well. I handle the YouTube channel. I handle the email campaigns and that kind of thing. So that kind of keeps me busy. And it's my, I had a career in technology in the hospitality industry. So it kind of fits with my skill set. I'm not very good in the field. I don't know how to use power tools all that well. And I got shitty knees and shitty feet and shitty shoulders and all that kind of stuff. So I'll stick to the tech part of it. So yeah, so that's my role. Now tonight's beverage of choice is a two-hearted ale from Bell's Brewery in Comstock, Michigan. And I was going to use it as a prop, but I had so many challenges with technology today because this month is dry January in our house. So I was going to use it as a prop, but because of all the challenges I've had today, I absolutely need this beer. So, and if you're going to drink a beer in the field like this, by all means, drink it in the bottle. But if you're civilized and you're drinking it in your dining room, by all means, pour it into a chalice. Make sure you get a lot of air in there. Make sure you get a nice, 1.5, 2 finger head on this thing. But yeah, you don't drink this two-hearted ale. Nice IPA. And by the way, this IPA is #1 in the country for craft brewery, 3 years running from Bell's Brewery in Comstock, Michigan. So, and
Wow.
one more thing about two-hearted ale. There's a trout on the label.
Nice.
So if you're not drinking this, you should be. And I'm not really an IPA fan, but this is a really good one, and I've become fond of it. The other part of the story is we had to postpone our banquet twice, once in March and then again in October. And when we postponed it the second time in October, my wife was like, "Hey, could you please get all this crap out of my living room?" So all the donations that we had gotten were in there. And I was going through the donations and I found a 4-pack of this beer and, had sort of a drink now date on it. So I opened up one of them and I really liked it. So it's become not a total favorite, but something I enjoy from time to time.
And we assume its name is taken from Hemingway's story?
Yes.
I that's news to me. So thank you for bringing that up. That's very good. And I'll have to look that up for the next time I present Two-Hearted Ale.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
just wanted to throw a plug into our friends who started us with the tying nights, Reverie in
Oh,
Newtown.
Reverie, yeah.
Local brew, the Bar 9. It's an awesome IPA, 8.5%. This is gonna get me through Mark's first half hour. Have fun.
Perfect. So so the Klinkhammer. This was a fly. I think that I stumbled on a video, at least 2 videos. One was on Tim Flagler's site, Tightline Video. The other was on Damien McPhail's site, and I was like, oh, it was intriguing to me anyway. So I actually went to Angler's Den. I bought these hooks first. These are the Daiichi Klinkhammer hooks. They're perfect for it's the Daiichi 1167. I bought them in a size 20, and it's a Klinkhammer style hook. That's all it really is for. It's got the real flat top with a real pronounced bend, which is the traditional, I guess, Klinkhammer. But it has a barb, and I'm not very good at barbs. Not just the fact that I can't get them out of my fingers, but I can't really get them out of a fish's mouth. And one of the first fish I caught on a Klinkhammer, I'm going to share my screen. And this is one of the first fish I caught. This is in Greenwoods. This is probably 2 summers ago, so 2.5 years ago. I caught this fish in Greenwoods, and I was trying to get the fly out of its mouth, and I literally had to get my forceps out to get the fly out of the trout's mouth, and that's what it ended up looking like. So I turned away from barbed hooks and started using barbless hooks because I did, it was just a pain in the neck. I couldn't get the damn things out of the jaws of a trout. Anyway, I started using Firehole. I don't know how many people use Firehole hooks, but I started using Firehole hooks in about 2-3 years ago, I think. And the main reason I use them is because they were, number one, they're a little bit cheaper per hook than what I was buying, and number 2, they're all barbless. So if you buy Firehole, they're all barbless, every one of them. So I now use their jig hook. I use this number 317 hook, which is a Scud Klinkhammer, emerger hook. I use their dry fly hook. I use another nymph hook. And then the one I really like that you really ought to check out is their 3 times long nymph hook, or excuse me, jig hook. So it has a 3 times long shank on it. And it's really good if you want to tie like a big stonefly or something like a Pat's rubber legs with a jig. You know, it's really I think it's a great hook. I have heard a few comments about the, whoops, I didn't want to do that. I have heard a few comments about the fire hole hooks straightening out when you get like guys that say, oh, I straightened out a size 20 on 6X, and I haven't had that problem yet. So I guess until I have that problem, I'm not going to move away from these. And if you do any business with Firehole, they're up in Bozeman, Montana. I think it's a husband and wife, and they're phenomenal. They're 2 of the greatest people on the planet. They're really, really good businessmen, men and women. So that's the Klinkhammer. Let me try to do this wicked cool share and see if it works. And okay, so now you should see my hook, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's a little blurry. I mean, I guess I could go out a little bit. It's not going to really focus it up too good. This is an iPhone, and I'm not Dave Zerwicki, so I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to photography. So let me try to get started. I'm going to put my big glasses on, and I'll get started on this thing. So I'll go through the materials. I use UTC 70 in olive for the olive. I mean, I pretty much use UTC 70 for probably 90% of my flies. I have it in 140 for bigger flies. I have some uni thread and some other odds and ends, but predominantly I use UTC. For the parachute, I'm going to use Parapost. Is that backwards for you guys, or is that?
Yeah, it's backwards. No
Oh,
worries.
I'll just do this. There. So I use
Yep.
Parapost. I've already cut a few strips here. I use a turkey biot for the body, and I will say I don't know about you guys, but in my experience, all turkey biots are not created equal. And I just bought these Nature Spirit. I really like them. They're real consistent. I've got some feathers in my stash that I've pretty much worked over pretty good, and there's not really much left that's tieable. So I bought these, and I really like them. I don't know what you guys are familiar with, or
Mark,
what.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
To Dave. So can you use just like the Polish quills as well for the body, or?
Well, I was going to get to that tonight. I'm using turkey biots, but I've tied this with all kinds of stuff. I've tied it with Vivus body quill, that kind of shiny stuff. I've tied it with the Polish quills. I've tied it with stripped peacock. I've tied it, it's kind of whatever you want to do, And I'm of the opinion that if you have more, colors and variations and sizes in your fly box, you have a better chance. I've literally gone with a 20 size 20 with olive quill and changed it to a size 22 with a brown quill and gotten a neat, so it's kind of, I'm not going to say I figured it out yet, but I do tie a lot of these, and I tie them in all different colors and sizes. I actually have some in my box that I'm dying to fish that are tied in a Hendrickson pink, and I got some in sort of a rust brown that I think will work too. And those are like more size 14s and 12s. So I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the other thing I use is just some straightforward super fine dubbing in various colors for the thorax. So I'll try to get started here, and hopefully I won't make any goofs or whatever. Obviously, the first thing I want to do is I want to get the post on. And if you haven't tied a lot of parachute flies, for this, for the post was definitely the hardest thing for me to figure out and to get down. And I've cut these paraposts into little strips like this ahead of time, so I wouldn't have to fumble with that. But the post typically the toughest thing for me to tie. And I remember, Jeff, I remember watching Kit tie a bunch of parachutes at the Meeting House pub one night. And just like, she was just whipping right through them. And when I tried it, I got to tell you, I was just a mess for the longest time. I switched to this parapost wing material probably about a year ago. I was using Entron yarn, but it would slip. Has anybody had that problem when they're tying a parachute? How the wraps will slip on you? Anybody?
I have.
Yeah, it's a pain in the neck. So I went to this stuff. It's a little more unruly. You'll get these fibers that will kind of get tangled and stuff. I've already got a couple of them here that are tangled, but you can cut them out. But it definitely allows you to wrap your post a little tighter. And let's see if I change that without screwing it up. Allows you to tie your post a little tighter. Now the second thing I tie in here is the hackle. And so I've stripped the hackle pretty good. And this is another thing I haven't quite figured out is how do you get the hackle to tie in, the way you want it and so that it will wrap properly, right? And I haven't figured that out yet, but we'll see how this works tonight. So I'm wrapping up the post, and you can see it's not slipping on me, and that's that. I haven't waxed my thread or anything. And that's, I think, a characteristic of the parapost material. You can really wrap it, tight without it slipping. So I've got it up there pretty good. I think it's probably far enough. And I'm just going to come back down and get ready to tie in my biot. Now my materials are all flying all over the place here. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so with that on, I'll try to get it out of the way. These biots, if you're not familiar with them, and this one's not very pronounced, but they have a little notch in them. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little notch in them. And when you tie the biot in, you want to tie it in with that notch down, and hopefully if you got that notch down, the little barbs, the little edge of the biot will be at the back, so that when you wrap it, you'll get this really nice segmentation. And I really love the look of these flies. Now I come down pretty far. This is a Klinkhammer. You want to make it look like it's a struggling, emerger trying to get out of its little shell. How are we doing, you guys? Is this okay? Am I?
Yep.
I know it's kind of blurry, but.
See it very well.
All right, so I'm at, whoops, I actually already blew it. I was going to tie the damn thing in. Okay. Scrunch this up. I think this is right. Now I'm going to grab this, and sometimes this thing, it will play tricks on you. Grab it. A lot of times what I like to do, and I know this is another trick everybody pretty much knows with UTC, is just spin it counterclockwise. So it flattens out. And that way you can put some taper into it if you want to. You don't really have to put much taper on these.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
when you say counterclockwise, what does that mean?
Okay. My thread is hanging straight down in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm spinning it to the, I'm taking my thumb and my forefinger and I'm spinning it to the right.
So if it's counterclockwise, if you're looking down at the bobbin from above.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's never been clear in videos,
Yeah, you're right. It hasn't.
Okay, thanks.
But, and this is not, to be honest, this thread's not flattening out too well for me tonight, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just gonna, put a little bit of a taper in this thing.
Don't get your beard caught in that thread.
I know, you know what, I think probably part of the problem with the focus is that my chin's getting in the way, but that's because I have to wear these freaking ginormous glasses. All right, now probably one of the toughest parts of this whole thing, because you're dealing with these biots, which are pretty brittle, is getting this first couple of turns on the hook. So I always leave my thread when I'm tying this thing, I always leave my thread behind the post. So I'm going to get a couple of turns in here, and I've got this facing the right way. You'll be able to see hopefully that ridge of the biot. And now I get, just, a turn and a half or whatever, and I'm going to come in here with my handy dandy hackle pliers and grab this thing. Now I actually could use the rotator or whatever rotary function of my vise, but I don't. And I just take my time doing this because, as I said, these things can be really brittle, and you'll break one or two. If you're tying a dozen of these, you're probably going to break one or two of these biots.
And if you tie them in with the other way, with the strike facing the other way, it doesn't catch anything, right?
No, it only catches rainbows.
That's what Eric says.
Only catches rainbows. And this biot is kind of short. I've actually got some tight wraps here, so unfortunately I don't want to undo it. So I'm kind of disappointed with the way that turned out.
Hey, Mark, I got in a little late. Is that a turkey biot?
Yes, it's a turkey biot.
Thanks.
All right, I'm gonna just say this is okay, and tie that off. Put a couple in front, another one behind, and then I'll release this, and then I can come in here and try not to cut my thread. All right, so I cut that out. Come back up here, and I'm pretty much ready to tie my thorax in. And this won't, I'm a slow fly tire, by the way. So you guys that are out there that do, your pheasant tails in 3 minutes, you'll probably have this thing, done already. And I'm just now getting ready to put in the thorax. I don't know about you guys, but I use dubbing wax. I don't know what it is, but I have a hard time spinning a really good tight dubbing noodle, and you need that for this fly, in my opinion. So I take a little pinch of my superfine, and less is definitely more with this stuff. In fact, I can already tell I might have too much, but you want to do a really nice tight noodle like this. Because I don't know about you guys, but I honestly think that profile matters a lot more than anything else, right? And you want to make sure that when you're doing this thorax, and I do these figure 8 things here like this, you want to make sure you get a pretty nice ball shaped, thorax on this thing. I'm going to put a little bit more on here. I hate doing this because I always end up with too much, right? So get that on there. Now I want to end up with this thread, and you can see I haven't crowded the eye at all, and I think that's another thing that I'm really conscious of when I do this. I want to get this and I want to leave the thread on the back side like that of the post, because now when I get ready to turn my hackle, I'm going to reorient the fly vertically like this, so that now I can grab my hackle, separate it from your post, grab the hackle, and start winding it down. I'm going to get probably 5 wraps in this one, and then I'll bring this thing kind of like straight out towards my chin, and then wrap the thread, and make sure you don't try not to capture any fibers, right? Any of those hackle fibers. I did 3 turns, and 3 turns is really all I need. I've got a few oops, this thing got messed up. I guess I moved my vise.
And Mark, how did you size that hackle?
With a little hackle sizer, and I try to go a little, like if I'm tying a 14, I try to use a 16. But, oh man, this is bumming me out. I'm gonna finish this and then fix that. Okay, so I've got three wraps around that hackle. I'm gonna come in here with my very, very fine scissors and snip that out. And then I'm gonna just do a whip finish around this post. And economy of thread, because you don't want to bulk it up. So I'm going to do just a 3-turn whip finish. Try not to capture any of these fibers. Come up here, nice and delicate. Boom. And you are next to done at this point. Snip your thread out. Come on. And at this point I can take this, put it back in the vise this way. Check out my fibers, make sure I don't have too many trapped. That looks pretty good. And then I'll just come in here and snip my parachute. Boom. And so that's it. Again, you want to make sure I've got a few fibers over here that are trapped that I want to come in here and just snip them out.
So you use the post as an indicator, not as like a wing imitation.
Correct. It's just an indicator. And to be honest, I mean, if you're a trout and you're looking at this profile here, I'll give you the profile. That's the profile that the trout looks at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and
well, that's only that's only if they're right underneath it. If they see it coming down the river like upstream, they see it from a different angle.
Yeah, but I've never. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen so many fish come up and take this thing, from dead off the bottom. In here's an example would be there's a riffle below Ovation.
Yeah.
And there's a section of it. It's right before you get to the bridge, so it's quite a bit below Ovation, but it's like, probably 200 yards up from or 150 yards up from the bridge, and that water's about 2.5 feet deep, and I've seen fish come right at the bottom and grab this thing, just like directly straight up. It's been a good fly for me, and it's again, it's like, this is an olive. You can tie it in whatever color you want to, but so I'll do another one. Again, this hook I use, this 317 fire hole is, in my opinion, one of the best hooks. I tie a caddis emerger that has also been pretty fun and really done well. It's these two patterns are like, they get more looks. I mean, sometimes you'll throw a bug out there and like last week when I was fishing, I mean, I didn't get anything, on the surface. I didn't even get any looks. With these things, this and this caddis emerger I tie, I get a lot of looks, I get a lot of eats, but it's nice to get the looks too,
Yeah. What's the biggest that you tie this in?
The biggest, probably a 12,
You do like a Hendrickson version?
Yeah, like a Hendrickson. But I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to fish that hatch. The only time I fished that hatch was when we did the Delaware River trip 2 years ago in May, the Delaware River Club. So I'm itching to do that. But this has been a really good summer fly, in various sizes, various colors. Olive seems to be the best. Yeah, olive seems to be, for me anyway, the best. Gotta prep this hackle. Wait till you guys have eyesight problems, man. You start wearing these big ass glasses, they get in the way. They're serious pain. So tie our hackle in. Okay. So you can see, I mean, not much materials, and once you get the hang of it, you actually can tie these things pretty quickly. Make sure I got the one. See, this one's going to give me problems. I can't see the notch in this thing. Hopefully I did it right. If not, I'll just call it a rainbow. You know, it'll be the one I use on rainbows. That's the one thing with this pair post stuff. It does throw fibers all over the place sometimes. But not to worry. What else can I say about this thing? I like I said, the two videos that I saved and kind of go back to for this fly are Tim Flagler's Off Tight Line and Davey McPhail's. And I know there's a, you know, Davey McPhail is a acquired taste, you know, but he ties really good stuff, and I love watching his stuff because I learn, you know, little techniques that, you know, really kind of help in more ways than one.
So what floatant do you use on this fly, and where do you put it?
I've done very sparingly, like the gink stuff at the very beginning. I only do gink once. And
Put it
then
on the post or on the hackle?
I put it on the on the, like, kind of like I put it on my fingers, and then I just kind of pinch the fly like this. Maybe that's the wrong way of doing it, but I was fishing this last time I fished it. I was like, I want to see if this thing really floats the way I think it does. And if you get this post where it's supposed to be on the top, right, and you get the hackle right, this thing floats perfectly. I mean, it sits there in the water straight up with that little thing hanging down, the little body hanging down. You can also put like a shuck on this, and I've done that. I put a little Antron, for a shuck. Again, I don't know what difference it makes, but it's something different that if nothing else is working, I'll go to, right? Okay, this one's much better. I got better. Just want to make sure I don't break it because it's known to happen. All right. Yeah. I don't know how many people do what I do from time to time, that is cut the thread. When you're trying to cut like a waist piece, and you end up cutting the thread. That's so annoying. All right, so got the body on. That's been pretty good. Go with some wax. What was I using? Brown olive. Okay. That's a nice tight noodle. A little more. Okay. I need more on the front, I think. So. Let's see. I don't know, I could probably even go a little bit more.
Have you ever tried the parachute with CDC feathers?
I've tried it with pretty much everything, Dave, and I think I keep coming back to this. I don't know what it is, you know.
Yeah.
I've got it in a lot of different colors, and sometimes at one point last summer, I was tying it with, I was going, all right, my 22s are in orange, my, 20s are in green, and, that kind of, but it, I don't know, this stuff, it just seems so much easier for me. I haven't slipped, once, right? I haven't had it slip off, and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of my main pet peeve with this parachute stuff. This was looking pretty good though. I'm gonna do one more. All right. Again, try not to trap any feathers, and like I said, I'm pretty anal about 3 turns, cut the hackle, and then a 3-turn whip finish, and you're done. There's one video I saw, and I think it might be from Fly Fish Food or somebody like that, where they use super glue. They don't even whip finish. They just put super glue on the thread and then just wrap it around the post, and then that's it.
Yeah, I did that a few times.
My problem is that I would get super glue on the thread, and the fly would come out nice, but my fingers would be glued together.
Yeah, I think it's a good technique if you're not that good at fly tire, and it's like whip finishing around the post and the feathers is tricky if you're not really good at it yet. So
yeah, so this I don't know about the hackle on this is a little bigger than maybe I want it, but this is, this fly is like 5 times better than the one I typed earlier, in my opinion.
looks good.
So this one's going, in the special box. But anyway, that's my Klinkhammer. If you guys want to see another one, I got one more hook here that I can tie. But I actually, I stumbled on this when I was looking for turkey biots, and that's this Callibatus color, which is it's kind of olive, but it's also kind of gold. It's a cool looking color. I'm not sure how much the trout's going to go, oh, wow, that's a Callibatus. But I think it's a cool looking color. So I bought one of those. And like I said, I think this quill will, these two, I've got 4 quills between these 2 packages. This has got to be at least 150 flies, something like that. So any other questions?
You don't put UV on them, right, to cure the quill?
I don't.
But you do if it's a nymph, you do.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it more durable, right? And you guys probably know better than I do about the UV properties. Maybe John Hildebrand's the guy that knows about that. There's got to be some physics thing going on there.
I like the ridges more than when it's smooth, but subsurface,
yeah,
who knows? It falls apart pretty quickly, right?
Well, if it depends. I mean, to be honest, you know how this is. You lose more of these flies than you catch fish, right? So,
yeah, especially the nymphs.
Yeah, these dry flies, these Klinkhammers, I'm typically losing them in a tree, or a bush behind me or something like that. I haven't had a fish break me off yet. I've had one fish bend my hook.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah,
you ever use this with a dry dropper setup? Just out of curiosity.
I do. I absolutely do. In fact, I will put this behind like a big floaty caddis, about 3 feet behind, and not this size 14, but a size 20 or 22 or even a 24. I'll hang behind a caddis, and I've caught fish.
Awesome.
I've caught fish that way.
How about hang a nymph off of this? Have you done that?
No.
Yeah,
and the main reason is because most of the nymphs I have tungsten beads, and they pull this thing right under.
Yeah.
I'll hang those, like when I'm fishing a nice shallow riffle, like that section I was talking about below
Ovation.
Ovation, I'll put on like a 3-foot dropper off a big old floaty caddis or a beetle or something, you know, and it's just like it's fishing with an indicator basically, you know. And if you get one that hits your indicator that has a hook on it, what the heck, you know. I have a caddis pattern I tie called a balloon caddis, which has like it's just a regular caddis with a deer hair wing, but you
Hmm.
tie in a piece of foam right here at the eye of the hook, and then you tie it in, you know, like I think it's, you tie it in on top, then you do like a dubbing head over the top, then you fold the caddis, or you fold the foam back against the deer hair and tie it off. Creates a little bubble like head, and it floats really, really well, and it works.
I think that's an Austrian pattern.
I have no idea what that kind it is, but I saw it on Davey McPhail's site and on Fly Fish Food. So I started tying that, and it's a great dry fly for a dry dropper because it floats like a cork. So yeah.
Okay, Mark, you've done it again. It's another fly that I don't have all of the materials for. Where do you buy your turkey biots?
I got these ones at Jay Stockard,
Okay,
I think. So the three places where I buy feathers and most of my stuff is Jay Stockard, Fly Fish Food. Those are my two online go-tos, and Upcountry. So I very well could have got these at Upcountry, but I do believe I got them on Jay Stockard.
great, thanks.
Nature Spirit, like I said, the first turkey biots I ever bought were when I first got started. I bought them at Orvis, and you know, I don't want to say much bad about Orvis, but their biots weren't that good. Just saying, you know. I mean, they were okay for about I used about 2/3 of each one, and then, you know, French fodder after that. And I'm not sure, I don't know like you guys, but the ones I bought at Upcountry are just the back edge. You know what I'm talking about? They're just they're just let me see if I can get this right. They're just this back edge right here.
Not the full feather.
Not the full feather. And to be honest, these feathers here, you know, they'll work, but they don't work as good. The ones on the back edge are so much more consistent, and they're not. The other ones, these other front feathers are kind of brittle, but you can buy them with just that back edge. And to be honest, you're probably only going to use that back edge. And then the hackle. Here's another steal: is you can get this Metz hackle, and this is a grade what? I'm not sure. It's pretty good though. I bought this at Sierra Trading Post for 40 bucks.
They sell feathers, Sierra Trading Post, really?
Online. You go online, they sell this Metz hackle. At least they did. I got this one and I got a brown one. They were 40 bucks a piece, like 39. And I have tied 3, 4, 5 dozen flies out of this cape, and I have not even scratched the surface. There's 1,000 more flies in that cape.
It lasts forever.
It does.
Yeah, the whitings are good too. I mean,
yeah, I like whiting. I bought whiting. You know, but it's hard to find those little packs, those little ones. They call them hundreds.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to find those anymore.
Yeah, the big ones go for 75 a pop, so they're not cheap.
No, but like I said, I got a grizzly and I got a brown. I've been trying to find a dun. So if anybody has a dun cape and they want to sell me, you know, a third of it or something, hey, I need one of those, because I think dun's another color that's really that really works well.
I'm still trying to find one that's a light ginger. Most of mine are cream. They're too light for this fly, I think.
Yeah, you know, again, I think, you know, when you're looking at this thing, I mean, how much of this is the trout really seeing? And, you know, I gotta believe that the majority of it is just this profile, you know, and I could be wrong, you know, maybe.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. I mean, it is below the water, so they probably do see the color a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Depends on the lighting, I think.
And the way this thing sits in the water, if you tie it right, is it literally will float. You'll see it. It'll literally float like sort of this thorax is sort of half in the water, and the thing that's holding it up and holding it on the surface is that haloed hackle, and the rest of that body is just hanging down. So, and again, if you're tying it on this Daiichi hook, you know, if you're tying it on this one, I mean, let me shake one of these so you can see it. Whoops.
It can be a good spinner imitation too because of that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but this has a much more pronounced bend to it.
Yeah. It's almost a half circle.
And again, you know, I'd be tying that if I didn't have to deal with the barb. It's really kind of bizarre the way, you know, I mean, I sit there and watch videos and guys are taking hooks out of the fish's mouth, and I cannot for the life of me get a size 20 barbed hook out of a fish's mouth.
Yeah, it's really hard. They inhale those little flies too,
Yeah,
you know?
and you know, I end up, you know, damaging the fish.
Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah.
And then and again, you know, it's like with I do suffer by using, as you guys know, by using barbless hooks like this, I suffer many more long distance releases than you know.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
But they all count in my book, you know. If I get that thing
Yeah.
close enough that I can see it and it's flopping around and it gets off, I'm like,
You
fine.
still get the adrenaline rush,
Yeah,
right?
especially like, you know, if you're fishing in conditions like we have right now, where, you know, if you got to put your hand in the water to release a fish, I mean,
It's no fun.
no, you know, and I guess the last time I went fishing, it was like I was in and out of the water, even though I listened intently to our December chapter meeting with Derek and Zach. You know, I had to get out of the water every 15 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of jog in place and kind of, you know, I had hand warmers and they, you know, got wet, so that didn't help.
You know, on some of those like really extreme Klinkhammer style hooks, I found that they're more apt to bend out.
Yeah,
because they're kind of open anyway, you know.
Yeah, and this thing is really these are really they're real the Daiichi ones are really thin. They're like
Yeah.
a dry fly hook, where this is really more of a nymph hook. I mean, this thing here is more of a nymph hook than the others. What
Mark,
time
have
is it out there in Zoom land?
Mark, have you tried the Hanak hooks, the competition nymph hooks?
I have tried. Yes, I actually have some downstairs that I bought specifically to compare to this. So I bought them in a size 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Hanaks.
And then the other ones I've been looking at are fulling mill. So it's kind of a, you know, I mean, it's funny when you go on these websites, especially the social media sites. So you guys know how it is. You have somebody talking about a fulling mill hook, and there'll be 20 people going, best hooks I've ever used, and then one dude comes in and goes, oh, you know, I strayed one out, they suck, you know.
Yeah.
There's one in every crowd, right? So social media, yeah, I and the thing about the folks, and one more talk, the thing about the Firehole folks, I don't know if you've used their stones. They call them the sticks and stones. Their tungsten beads are pretty cool. They've got all kinds of different colors. They've got some new beads now that come in a mottled finish. You know, they're like a matted finish with then a colored mottled effect on it that's got UV characteristics. And they sent out a batch of these black and red ones that I bought, and it was black matte with like red spots, red speckles on it. And their UV process didn't work. And they sent out an email to everybody that bought them saying, we'll take them back. We'll give you a credit, whatever you want to do. This is what happened. And they said, just reply to an email. So I replied back and said, look, I've tied, a dozen flies with these things. I've already fished with them. I said, I don't care. I said, I don't think the fish care. So give me a credit. And they gave me a credit. They got back to me in like hours.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
so they're, they're a good, in my opinion, a good company to do business with. And they got, they're just hooked right now. They're hooks and beads.
I've used the Orbis tactical check nymph hook for this kind of fly. It's good too.
Yeah.
It's pretty light.
Those
but
are,
strong.
those Artemis hooks are great, but God, I have a hard time when I can get a hook for 25 cents a hook. I have a hard time spending 35 cents a hook for it. So just me.
I think the Orbis hooks are made by Fulling Mill. I think that's what I've heard from people.
All right. So everybody, I don't know, anything else? Like I said, I could tie another one, but I'd probably just screw it up. And by all means, try the Two-Hearted Ale.
It's a great beer.
Mike, did you finish? Did you get into your second one yet?
Are you talking to me?
Fotsy, where'd he go?
Oh, he had to go.
Oh God.
I think the Two-Hearted. I think that's a Michigan river.
It said Comstock, Michigan. I have again. I got it, and when Jeff said you got to have an adult beverage paired with your fly, I was like, well, it's got to be this one.
It's got to be named after the Hemingway story, right?
It is.
Two-Hearted River.
Yeah,
it's up in the upper peninsula of Michigan.
The story is after a real river, though.
That's what we're talking about here.
Okay,
Talking about a
so
famous book too. Read that. That's
what you're telling me is that when I pick up my RV this spring, that I have to go there.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, you do.
All right, perfect.
And you have to film it and tell us all about it.
I'll put it on the list.
Live stream it.
Live stream.
See your casting.
Oh man, yeah. I got to get another cortisone shot before summer so I can cast again. I'm actually psyched to use these bugs I tied tonight. So.
What size were those that you tied tonight?
These were 14. So
okay.
I'll throw them on. I mean, what the hell, right, Dave? I'll go check the stocking report. I'll go 2 days after they stock the river. They'll eat these things.
Were you able to try your streamers last week, Mark?
I did. I was telling Gustavo I caught a fish on his on that streamer, that turkey flats. I didn't I don't know. I must have done something wrong with the turkey flat. It didn't really come out the way yours looked, Gustavo, but I caught a fish. So
excellent.
And I put I actually tied it on a jig hook with like a 3/16 tungsten slotted bead, and I put kind of a crystal or pearl flash, this Senyo's what's that stuff called? Senyo's
Wiggle Dub?
No, it's
Shaggy Dub?
Oh shit! What
the splat cool?
It's like the flat. It's like the flash dub.
The EP splat.
Oh, laser dub. Laser dub.
Laser dub. Senyo's laser dub. That's it. I had this like kind of a minnow color or whatever. It's kind of a silvery kind of thing, and I blended that in with a white turkey flat, and I tied it on this like size, I think 6 fire hole streamer hook. And the fire hole jig hook, and then I don't know. At the very end, I put this little red dubbing collar on, and then brushed it out. It looked kind of cool. And then the fish thought so too.
Nice.
I changed up. I tried an olive one, and then I had another one that was kind of a sort of a natural looking color, and nothing on those. So it was the white, man. It was the white that did it.
It's a good winter color.
Yeah, that's what you guys. I heard you guys say that a month ago when we were out there at Christmas. So that's what I've been doing. I tied a bunch of white ones, and that that's the one. But I don't know. I
Cool.
don't know when we'll be getting out there again because it's going to be less than 30 degrees high for the next week,
Yeah.
starting like Saturday. All right.
Okay.
I'm done. That
Thank
was
you.
my fly tying night. Now
Thank you, Mark.
Nice
Thanks, man.
job.
do it.
Thank you, Mark.
Who's next anyway? By the way, Jeff.
That's a good question. I was just
I
looking
am.
at the list.
I am. Dave is.
Dave is pheasant tails 57 ways. He's going to do it.
57 varieties. Okay.
You know, Dave, when you said that, what was that about like 3 weeks ago? You said that, and I was like, I haven't tied any pheasant tails in a long time. I tied like 2 dozen in all kinds of different,
Yeah.
wacky colors and so it'll be good to see what you do next week.
Yeah, I'll show all different variations and
Anything.
all show you my box, all that stuff.
Yeah, they're fun to tie because they're like, I mean, you're absolutely right. You can do them so many ways, and they're quick tie.
Catch fish.
And they catch fish. Frenchies, man, those are the, I've caught more fish on Frenchies the last like 3 years. All right.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
All
Now, wait a
right.
minute. There's
Good
a
stuff,
whole
Jeff.
bunch of chat stuff. What's all this?
Just talking shit about you.
Okay.
Just like a lot of us drink
What is
Founders.
everyone drinking? Founders. That's cool. McAllen 12. Oh God, that's what I need.
Got that at the auction a couple of years ago.
There you go.
Oh boy, it wouldn't last 2 years in my house. That's for sure. All right.
All right, cool. See you guys.
Good night, guys.
Take care, Jeff.
Take care.
Thanks again, Mark.
Thank
All
you.
Mark.
Thanks.
Later.